What's going on? I've been having a problem with all these role players. Who's giving role players or over glorified players the right to talk about people? Paul Pierce came out and said something about Kyrie. I don't have a problem with that. Paul Pierce was the truth. He was a leader of that championship team in '08. He balled out. He hit some big shots. I respect him. I respect him a lot. I think a lot of people don't give him enough credit because he was carrying some bad Boston teams. But Kendrick Person, broke knee ass, need to shut up talking about Kyrie. You're a role player. Play your role. You weren't nothing more. You were just another Charles Oakley. You guys are the same players. You guys are enforcers, but you're role players. You never had the statue of a Charles Barkley or a Shaquille O'Neal. You could talk about that. You know, but you guys act like y'all were putting up 20 a game and like 10 rebounds and stuff like that. No, y'all wasn't. The Boston Celtics are looking good. But for now, Jaylen Brown is still having a hard time finishing. He got his points off of a lot of foul calls that are ghost fouls. He still is not real strong going inside. Defensively, he's very good. He's just, to me, another Tony Allen. He's a good role player who's getting overpaid to me. Marcus Smart and Tatum are balling. But these role players are just talking mad cash. Like they were the best player on the team. They come out talking about players and load management and stuff. LeBron James started load management. LeBron James started going to other teams. And I don't have a problem with that. Fans get mad when players go to another team, like when Durant went to the Warriors. Who cares? Like Kobe Bryant said it best. Beat them. You could get all the all-stars in the league to play together. I'll still go out there and kick their ass. That's what a great player does. Michael Jordan ain't worried about who was on another team. He just knew he had to get his guys ready to play the game. He didn't have the teams Magic Johnson had or Larry Bird had. Him and Isaiah Thomas had to fight and had to build their teams up by playing in practice and building them up. They didn't get the LeBron James treatment where you could trade half your team or you can always get a new roster. I think a lot of times we need to focus on the role players, like Scottie Pippen, for instance. Some dumb kid said the other day, Scottie Pippen is the reason Jordan won 6. No. Why is it always that narrative? Scottie Pippen was an intricate role. He was a role player. He played his role, which was defense. He would get some buckets here and there. But the guys who were the most valuable pieces were Horace Grant for the first 3. The second 3, you had Dennis Rodman. Without those 2 key components to protect the rim and get rebounds and do what they had to do defensively and offensively, it would have been trouble for Jordan and them. Jordan was allowed to score. Jordan, that's why I tell people, Jordan was a great player. He's one of the best to ever play. He just was never the greatest that I've seen. I've seen guys a little better than Mike, but it's very few it's not so much. But people gonna call you a hater of everybody. But the problem is these role players Like Scottie Pippen, for instance, was saying LeBron was better than Mike. And then all of a sudden, he's changed his tune. He wanted to attack Isaiah Thomas, talking about you need to stop saying LeBron's better than Mike. You just always been jealous. And it's like, jealous of what? Isaiah Thomas didn't like Michael Jordan because Michael Jordan was a politician. He did some snake stuff behind closed doors, which he did. He's a politician. He hated on the Pistons because they were beating his ass. The league stepped in to help dismantle the Pistons for him to win, because he wasn't going to beat that team if they still had their full roster. And then he beat a Lakers team in the first championship when they didn't have James Worthy. But that's neither here or there. I'm going to talk about that another day. But these role players need to chill out. If Michael Jordan came out and said, Kyrie Irving, he's this and that, talking trash about him, then I wouldn't have a problem with that, because that's Michael Jordan. See, he's a superstar. He carried the league. But these guys like Oakley and Shannon Sharp too. Shannon Sharp walk around here like he was like the greatest tight end ever. Dude, you weren't better than Tony Gonzalez. You weren't even better than Antonio Gates. You weren't even better than Kellen Winslow Sr., the daddy. You weren't better than him. Out in San Diego, who was with Air Coryell. You weren't better than him. You weren't better than a lot of tight ends. You played on a great team in Denver. Now, I will give you credit. You went to Baltimore and you balled out. You did your thing in Baltimore. I cannot lie. With those trash quarterbacks, I give you respect. But the defense carried y'all all year. In Denver, you played with probably one of the greatest ever quarterbacks in history, and then you had Rod Smith, Ed McCaffrey, Terrell Davis. You had an offensive line. I mean, you had a stacked team, bro. But these role players and these journalists, I get tired of them tearing down players because they wanted to fit their agenda. Is Kyrie Irving the most perfect player in the world? No, he's not. Kyrie Irving wants to win. And ever since he left LeBron, they've been targeting him. The thing that happened to them last year was the young guys got the big head. I'm sorry, but I don't believe in Jalen. I don't believe in Kemba. And I don't believe in Gordon Hayward. Hayward can't stay healthy. Jalen Brown, to me, he's a decent player. He's a role player. If he plays his role, then the Celtics will be fine. Kemba Walker, he's a good player. But we're going to see when things get tough, because Toronto got a stick. They got guys who can guard any position. They got nothing but length. The Bucks are playing good with Giannis. Who else you have? Nets, Bucks. That's about it in the East. The Magic looking good, but they got injuries. The Sixers, I'm not really sold on them because Ben Simmons can't shoot a three or shoot anything. The Miami Heat are straight, but they're one player away. They're not going to pose a threat. So right now you probably say the Bucks, Celtics. To me, Jason Tatum's the key. Jason Tatum and Marcus Smart are your keys. And then the role players that the Celtics have, they're better than last year. Theus, athletic as hell, guard the rim. The other guy, number 44, he's raw. Number 9 and 34 come off the bench. They bring energy. they're up and down and with their play, but they bring energy, which is great. But role players need to chill out. Even Rajah Bell. Rajah Bell was getting cooked by Kobe. He got cooked his whole career. Rajah Bell never been a great defender. He's been okay, but he's never been a great defender. And the guy really who was balling out in that series was Leandro Barbosa, Steve Nash, and Tim Thomas. You weren't doing anything in that Suns and Lakers series when they came back 3-1 down. You didn't do nothing. You was too busy trying to fight Kobe the whole game, and you was getting cooked for 30. So I'm tired of all these role players talking like they were really great. You know what I'm saying? It's like, stop it. Like, if Gary Payton want to talk trash about Kyrie or somebody, that's fine. That's Gary Payton. But if you weren't on that level, if you were beneath them, you don't have a right to speak about Kyrie or anybody else or others. Especially the media, Jackie McMullen. Like, what is your infatuation with Kyrie? Why are you even bringing him up? You media people go out your way to bring Kyrie up, especially when y'all have a slow news week. But you guys didn't have a problem when LeBron James was on the sideline, how he treated his team when they had a chance to win in the year before last year's finals, where he separated himself from the team because he didn't want to take Steph Curry to the hole. He was one-on-one with Curry, could have backed him down. He gonna pass to George Hill. Then J.R. Smith made a mistake, and instead of you taking him under your wing to coach him up and tell him, look, we're good, we still could come back, you could have stole game one and changed that series. And I get tired of you punk behind fans who defend him talking about that team was too great. Where's y'all competitiveness? I don't care if you had, when we were growing up and we played in the neighborhood, we played 5-on-5 or we played sandlot football. We used to go against a neighborhood that had all the all-stars. They used to kick our butt every day. But we didn't quit. We didn't say, oh, man, they got all the raw players, man. I don't feel like playing. No, because we weren't pussy. We weren't soft. We didn't have Kool-Aid in our tank. We had gasoline. We had diesel in us. You new generation guys and you fans are so soft and so delusional. It's mind-boggling. It's just mind-boggling to me how you guys criticize players. You guys give LeBron James a pass for everything, but Kyrie, y'all trying to say he toxic. Y'all trying to say Kawhi's load management. LeBron James is toxic and had load management. What is y'all talking about? He was doing load management all the time. But now everybody want to come out and be mad because Kawhi don't want to play every game. Kawhi came from a serious injury. Kyrie Irving has his flaws. Has his flaws. So did everybody else. Paul Pierce, you weren't always the greatest guy to be around. You weren't. So don't come out here trying to act brand new. Because it was times when you didn't handle the Ray Allen situation right. You and Ray had a problem. Ray wasn't perfect. So you guys want to criticize this man, this young man. He's a young man to me. Y'all want to criticize this kid because he left LeBron. Just be honest. Kyrie left LeBron. You guys have never forgiven him. LeBron wanted to trade him. Now everybody trying to say, no, he wanted to talk to him. It was management. Listen, LeBron James is the league. He has final say in any decision that went on in Cleveland. The only place he didn't have that power was Miami because Pat Riley didn't play. So stop with the narratives. Let's just praise these players who are balling right now. You know, me, I'm not a LeBron James fan, but it is what it is. If you like LeBron James, you feel he's the best in the world, that's you. Then ride with it. But don't tear down another player because a person like this player or that player, but you want to tear them down because it doesn't fit your narrative. We got to get out of that as people. Like, we can like one player and then like another player. I like a multitude of players. I don't multiple players, excuse me. I don't care for just one player because every player brought something different. When I grew up, I loved Charles Barkley. I liked him more than Jordan. I liked it Glenn Rice more. I liked it Eddie Jones. I liked it Magic. I liked it Bird. I liked it Isaiah. I liked it a lot of players. Mike was cool, but Mike started being political and getting all these calls from the refs and stuff in the 90s. It was travesty how they used to do a lot of people. But I liked the Patrick Ewing for the Knicks. I liked Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman probably was my favorite player because he didn't care. He just went out there and played every game like it was his last. Reggie Miller was nice. I mean, it's a lot of players. Tim Hardaway, him when he was with Mitch Richmond, Chris Mullin, Chris Webber was raw. Chris Webber was a dog. Rasheed Wallace, all these guys were raw. So I liked it multiple players. Just because you didn't win a championship doesn't mean you weren't a great player. Just because Karl Malone and Stockton didn't win a championship doesn't mean Will Purdue or Robert Horry or somebody was better than them. That doesn't make sense. Doesn't mean Steve Kerr's better than John Stockton because he got rings. Doesn't mean he's better than Iverson. So we need to stop criticizing and destroying these players, especially you role players. You guys are role players. Go sit y'all butt down in a corner somewhere. Go sit down and chill. You guys don't have a right to call somebody out. If Isaiah Thomas from the Pistons want to say this player don't play good, he has a right to say that. But Charles Oakley and all these guys, man, these guys was role players and they were third, fourth tier stars. It's just funny to me how they get a right to say something and everybody follows it. And then y'all use these numbers. Numbers and stats don't dictate if you're a great player. What dictates if you're a great player is if I can take you from any era and put you in another era and you still do the same things. I'm sorry. LeBron, Steph Curry, James Harden, they would not have made it in the other eras. Westbrook, they would not have made it. They would have had to change their game to fit. They would have had to change their game. The other eras, if I put LeBron in the 60s, he would be hurt. He couldn't take the pressure of being called the N-word and being treated like trash going to different places. He wouldn't be able to deal with that. Guys like Mike, Kobe could probably deal with that. So these role players, all you guys, y'all need to chill out, go somewhere. That's why I respect Kenny Smith on Inside the NBA. Kenny Smith know his place. The rest of you guys, y'all role players.